Baltimore goes into their old home of Cleveland to take on the lowly 1-6 Cleveland Browns. Keys, how you see this matchup playing out?
I think with the spread like -10, -9, minus something like that.
ESPN got
10,
it at 8.5.
8.5. So it's dropping. And I suspect it's a division game. I don't think you're going there and completely destroy them. I mean, you may, but I don't see that happening. You don't really tend to win division games by multiple scores, especially on the road division games. Granted, they 1-6. They're not a good team. Stefanski changed the play calling this week to he gave it to Ken Dorsey. James is starting this week, but Ken Dorsey is not. They brought in Ken Dorsey to be the offensive coordinator for Deshaun because he's a mobile quarterback. Ken Dorsey don't really, he's not really an offensive coordinator for a quarterback that can't get out the pocket. That's not what he does. So that's why they confused in Cleveland right now. Like, why would you change the offensive coordinator this week? You should change it last week, because the Dorsey and James styles really don't mix. But we'll see. Ravens are the 32nd ranked pass defense in the league, so you gotta be account for that. But I think I talked about the Browns don't have nobody to throw the ball to. Like they might got Jerry Judy. We already know how you feel about him.
Who?
we already know how you feel
Jerry
about
Judy.
him. So you've proven to be right so far in that aspect. But really, I mean, at the end of the day, you 5-2 team. We talk about all the time. Shout out to Nick. He's not here today, but building blocks. We always talk about the building blocks. He always say building blocks we're going to build. So this is a build game. This is a game that you should go in and you should take care of business. They still got the pieces defensively. They still, they can get pressure on the quarterback. They still got Denzel Ward. They still got Delpit on the back end. So they're a formidable opponent, but and they 1-6. I mean, how much more can you expect from a 1-6 football team? Just got to take care of business, man. Like I said, you can't go in there. You can't. Because it's a divisional game, I don't think you're looking at it as a trap game. This is a game that you got to win. It's a game that you be dominant in, even though if you might not cover the spread or you might not win, because it's a divisional game in the rule. You just got to go in there and be dominant. Keep doing things you're doing. Marlon is doubtful this week, so who knows? Zay Flowers is questionable this week, so we might be missing some key parts. But I think we still are, way better than the Browns. We'll see how the coaching holds up. But it's not I think it's a game that you should be able to go in there, win, and get healthy. Get healthy for the Broncos next week. But you can't overlook a divisional opponent. You just gotta go take care of business. They 1-6, man. Beat them. Like, do what you're supposed to do. Beat them, and let's move on and let's get them out of here.
Yeah, like he said, they 1-6. So my motto the whole season, every week, has been build. Just continue to build. I think Keys alluded to that with the building blocks, like Nick has been talking about. We split the season series with this team the last 3 years, but it's different roster this year, different outcome. You're looking at a team they last in offense in the NFL versus a team that we have the worst passing defense. So it's a game for the defense to get right. A game for the defense to figure out some things, maybe give them some confidence going into the Denver game next week, knowing how Sean Payton draws it up, and with Bo Nix being a mobile quarterback. But it's a game you can't overlook. I mean, they have a good defense. You kind of saw what they did with the Bengals last week, and we always talk about how they play the Bengals tight defensively, but their defense kept them in the game. They forced turnovers. They got stopped. So a lot of big names on that defense. I know Keys talks about Denzel Ward a lot. He's a star. He jumps off the tape. He makes big plays, and he can turn the ball over. But right now, I think this Baltimore team is so locked in, so focused that it really shouldn't be a game for us. Although it is a divisional game, it's a game where I think this offense continues to climb, continues to trend up. Since week 4, either Lamar Jackson or Derrick Henry's been offensive player of the week in the AFC. So, you got to continue to build on that. We scored 30 points in 4 straight games. So
they haven't scored 20 yet this year. That's another thing.
So they haven't scored more than 18 points. And they rank last in total offense, like I talked about. So jump on them early, really. That's the key. It's a 1-6 team, so it's only so much fight they got at this point. The weather's starting to break. It's getting cold outside. They're not ready to start wanting to hit no more. You 1-6, you just trying to get to the new year and get out healthy. So if you come out there and you jump on them early, take the crowd out of it. I want to continue to see Lamar develop as a passer, as he's done week in, week out. just some of his ball placement has been great. The one pass on Monday night, it was like a 7 yard out, but he just put it over the linebacker's hands and he dropped it in the basket. Like he's just progressively growing as a passer week in, week out. And I'm looking for that. I'm looking at Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. Potential game for them to have another big output. You're starting to see Mark Andrews come along over the last few weeks, which is a plus because the more weapons we can have going into January, the better. Especially with it looking like we're not going to go make a trade for an offensive weapon. So this is really a game that I see the Ravens winning. Is it a blowout game, a 2-touchdown win? I'm not going to go that far, but I think it's a game the Ravens ultimately win like 27-17.
Okay. I add my 2 cents in. I don't think y'all should be worried about covering the spread at this point. Just win a game that you're supposed to win. But that Cleveland defense is a little intriguing. Big week for y'all offensive line. They've been gelling as of late, but my arch nemesis Myles Garrett can pose a threat. He can pose a threat, and so can Smith on the other side. And y'all mentioned his name, Denzel Ward. I mean, I think everybody by now has seen that viral clip of that rep that he had against T. Higgins. I mean, that's textbook on how you play that position. It was a beautiful rep. And with Zay not being there, you know, he could put the clamps on Bateman. I'm curious to see how Monken, if uh Zay does not play, how do you call this game? You know, you can say that Bateman is not an afterthought, but the attention is going to the tight ends and Zay, and a lot of the plays, Bateman is just wide open and he's making a play. Now, you know, you want to be a number one. Y'all say y'all got y'all Devontae, right? Now with
That's why I stress the emphasis of the tight ends this week because
now you say
up in the air.
you say you got your Devontae. Let's see when the attention is solely on him with a number one corner on him, how that goes. But let's shoot the keys in his matchup.
Hit me on a slant. Give me keys to the inside. They took the keys. We don't have any keys.
Now give me the keys.
What's your matchup going into this week that you zoning in on?
Yeah, you mentioned it. I've been offering them because they've been playing well this year in the offensive line. That's the matchup this week. You know, just keep creating holes. They haven't given up more than 160. I think they're giving up 60. They haven't even they haven't given up over 67 yards of rushing, or they averaging. They only giving up an average 67. It's one of the two. But you should be able to run the ball. This fundamental stay sound. Offensive line, just keep gelling, keep doing what you're doing. But like you said, they got Myles Garrett, they got some players, they got Zadarius, they got some players on that defensive line now. I'm outside linebacker, so you just gotta keep doing what you gotta do, and doing what you've been doing, and you'll be fine. But that's my key matchup. Just be sound, protect Lamar. But the good thing about it is, which I'm happy now because we didn't see him get abused in the past, is that Myles Garrett's strong side is where Ronnie Stanley is. Ronnie Stanley is back to an all pro. He's playing like an all pro now again, finally, after he got healthy. So I'm not really concerned about that matchup. Ron Stanley, if healthy, hasn't really had any problems with Myles Garrett. And now usually don't flip Myles Garrett. I don't think they flip Myles Garrett a lot.
No. That's a good point. Good point. Keith, what's your key matchup this week?
Yeah, and I was gonna say, Ronnie Stanley, he's allowed 0 sacks on 224 pass blocking attempts this year, so keeping Lamar clean, which is key. My key matchup, you sort of alluded to it, Scope with Zay Flowers potentially being out, but it's Rashad Bateman versus Denzel Ward. Bateman had a career night on Monday night with 121 yards. But he's going to face one of the top corners this week in Denzel Ward. If Zay Flowers is not out there, you able to continue to get open, continue to make plays for Lamar, continue to be that safety blanket that he's been the last couple of weeks where Lamar scrambles and they improv outside the pocket. So I'm looking at Rashad Bateman to continue to build. They say on Twitter that we got a Devontae Adams. So I want to continue to see that week in, week out from him. And he's been building and stacking good games.
Good points. Also with Jameis being back there, I'm sure this is a game y'all in theory, if y'all turn over Jameis like he is prone to do, get short fields. This is a game where even though they got a good defense, you take them out the game early. And in a perfect world, I wouldn't bet on Lamar this week. He might not play the whole game. He might not play the whole game because James is gonna give you opportunities to make plays on the ball. Like Brandon Stevens, this should be like, you should come away with a couple interceptions.
Right.
You should come away with a couple interceptions.
Yeah, and I don't think it's gonna be a big crowd game. I think a lot of these Browns fans is giving up. They tired of the team. They tired. So I don't think it's gonna be, even though the Ravens coming to town, you should probably see a good amount of purple. Tickets under like $20 right now. It's not gonna be a bad game.
Yeah. It crowd shouldn't be a factor. This, division, even if crowd is, you're used to it. I don't want to say it's like home, but you're used to the environments going to Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and so forth. But also for y'all defensive line, like Owe, good practice reps. That man's a statue back there. You should be able to close on some of these sacks. You should be able to close on some of these sacks.
Play
you want to build.
Yeah.
Exactly. And get out healthy. That's the key. Get out healthy and get to Denver next week at home. We didn't really talk about it offensively, but Derrick Henry 127 yards away from another 1,000-yard season.
That's crazy. We're only in week 8.
7 in week 8. So
especially after the slow start, too. It's like, damn.
Yeah.
He stacked them yards up quick.
He's stacking. It would be his 6th 1,000-yard season of his career. So that's really saying something, especially at this juncture in his career.
Yeah, I mean, Nick talks about it all the time. He's not getting touched until he's gaining 7 yards. These last couple weeks, he's probably the last. He's the last real running back Hall of Famer that we're going to see for a while.
Yeah.
Like we should cherish this. I know I said I didn't care about, and with my defense, I still don't. I'm ready to see it, but as far as everybody else, it's that's a scary sight. That's a scary.
I'm about to
sight.
say outside of his first 2 seasons where he didn't have 1,000 yards, his only other year that he didn't have 1,000 yards, he only played 8 games, and he had 937 in an 8. So, I mean, this is he's on a good pace right now. I mean, he's on 2,000-yard pace, honestly. So, which would be put him in offensive player of the year numbers.
Yeah. So I'm
Thomas been the MVP and offensive player of the year on the same team, Sco.
It's nice. It makes it even better when you stop that.
I'm saying, do you know the last time it's been an offensive
the last time
MVP on the same team?
You probably can guess it. A good educated guess, you probably can get it if you just really think.
Offensive player of the year, MVP. Enlighten me.
Just think of badass offenses over the last 25 or so years.
What was that? The show on turf, the greatest show on turf.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
There you go. So you
Kurt
educated guess.
Kurt Marshall.
Kurt Marshall. Yeah.
Okay. They wanted that year. Let's see if y'all can do that.
Right.
Yeah, I think they wanted that year.
No, none of this mean nothing unless you win.
Yeah, what Scotty say? Don't mean a thing if you don't get that ring.
For real.
I love to see the disappointment. But 1, 2, 3 for y'all.
Yeah.
Comfortable in that?
1, 2.